test something here. Okay, I'm good to go. And thank you for the two folks watching. Not sure who you are, but hello there. And first thing I'm going to do is talk on, do you think it's possible that the average working American can be financially independent in 10 years, approximately? I think I said in a video, I put a comment like that in a different channel, and I'll tell you who this channel is. Well Behaved Wallet. So anyway, there's only one of you now. So anyway, that's fine. Anyway, financial independence within 10 years. Is it possible for the average working American? And what I've done, I set my tablet up below here where I can see comments, and I'll reply to those comments when I finish my talk, okay? So whoever you are, that one person who is still Dividend Dave or someone else, I appreciate you being here. Well, now there's two people back. So, all right. So financial independence in 10 years. Is it possible? And today is Wednesday, June the 15th. It's 7 p.m. Probably 7:01 by now. But anyway, and when I say working American, I don't mean someone who is, say, living at the poverty level, working, at McDonald's, making minimum wage with 3 or 4 kids. Not somebody like that. I mean, someone who's not at the poverty level and is a working class American. And yes, it is possible to be financially independent within 10 years. Just look at Dion from Dion Talks. He did it. Look at myself. I bought my first rental house when I was 49 years old. And within 3 years, 11 months, I had 25 rentals. When I had those 25 rentals, I had stocks as well. Did I use stock money to buy those 25? Well, I'm going to say not the ones that I'm getting cash flow from. I have 2 rentals that are in self-directed IRAs, which if you have a Roth IRA, I encourage you, if you got enough, to put it in a self-directed IRA and then buy a rental house in there. But anyway, I digress. So I had 23 rentals that were cash flowing. How did I do it? I did it because I had a primary residence and it was paid off, but you don't necessarily have to have it completely paid off. And I took a very small HELOC out. The HELOC was $30,000. All right, so a $30,000 HELOC. I used that HELOC to assist me with getting my first rental house in January 2017. And when I bought that, I used the HELOC for maybe, 75, 80% of that down payment. I ended up putting 25% down because it got me a better interest rate, and I really didn't know any better. I should have put 20% down to save cash, but I didn't know anything with my first rental, so I put 25% down. That was in January. In December, I bought my second rental, and I used the HELOC, I think, to assist me just a little bit with that. When I got my third rental unit in May of 2018, I had just retired from the police department, and I had a 457K, and I withdrew that money, all of it, and it wasn't much. It was like $65,000, and I got, say, 40 something after taxes, and that was my down payment on buying a triplex. A couple months later, I bought my first property out of state in Alabama, and I used that HELOC again for just a small portion of the down payment. And meanwhile, with rent I was getting in, I was paying that HELOC down, so it never exceeded maybe maximum $23,000. Okay, I was paying it down. And then in 2019, I ended up selling the second rental house I bought because it was in Virginia. I made a profit on it because I knew prices were going up, so I sold it. And I used that money to buy 4 houses. And it just went from there. All right, so like I said, in just under 4 years, I had a total of 25 rentals units. 2 were in self-directed IRAs. 23 units were not in self-directed IRAs, but one of those units that was, it was exactly 23 units, because one was a triplex. So I had like 20 houses and a triplex, 23, and then 2 rentals and a self-directed IRA. So with those 23 rentals, I dare say I was financially independent, because when I left employment and moved here to Florida and got a mortgage on this house, which was way nicer and way more expensive than my house in Virginia, I qualified for that mortgage on just the rentals that were in my name. There were some of those rentals were in my spouse's name. That wasn't counted because she was still in Virginia for a while, because we had to rehab our house up there. So we rehab that house. I qualify for this mortgage. I moved down here, and yes, money was tight. Money's still kind of tight, but I'm living a better lifestyle now than I was in Virginia. The missus is now down here with me now. Neither one of us are working. I have bought alternative investments since moving here, and I started that just before I moved down here. And they just started giving me revenue since I've been here. So I was financially independent with only having 23 rental units paying me income. And that was from just under 4 years. All right. And I'm saying, without a doubt, that if I can do this, so can you. I did not know anything of what I was doing when I first started. Any of you four that are here watching my channel, you know more than I did when I first started. All right, so if I can become financially independent in just under 4 years, I dare say anyone can. Ways that some folks can do it, and I'm going to be quick with this and I'll get to your questions. All right, as an example, that one channel I referenced that says you can't do it, that's Well Behaved Wallet. She says she cannot buy a rental property probably for 10 years. I've told her she can. She invests in, I think, a 401k, and she invests maybe in some stocks. All right, I've said this in one video before. 401ks, Roths, et cetera, are detrimental to early retirement. If you have a 401k, because my wife had a 401k, we took a 401k loan, not a withdrawal, a loan, and used that to buy a rental property. We did the Burr strategy where we pulled our money back. Okay, so that's what we used that for. But knowing what I know now, if I was younger than I am now, not 49, if I don't know the age of the three of you now, because I guess some folks don't like this, so they're tuning out. But if someone is younger than I am especially, and they own a house, and maybe they have one kid or two kids or three kids, but they own a house, then I will make a strong suggestion. Deanna has done this, Millennial Mike has done this. Sell that house, buy a duplex, triplex, or fourplex. It's called house hacking. And if you do that, and you live in a duplex or a triplex, your tenants are paying your mortgage, which means you do not have a mortgage. What is your largest expense, more than likely? It is your mortgage. So if you eliminate that mortgage or the bulk of that mortgage, all of a sudden you have more money, which means you can save more money to invest, right? So that's one thing you can do. Another thing you do along the same lines with house hacking, if you have spare bedrooms, like if my money was so tight here where I could not afford my mortgage, I have a 4-bedroom house. This is technically a bedroom I'm sitting in, but it's my office. So I have 3 bedrooms and those beds in the other two spares. I could rent one or both of the bedrooms on Airbnb and get some additional income. If I was in a college town, perhaps I could rent rooms to college students and charge, nice rent that's cheaper than what the parents are paying for them to live in a dorm. Okay? If there's a will, there's a way. All right? If any of you 5 sitting out there are thinking about early retirement and become financially independent, then you have to really want it. If you're someone in my mastermind group, you have to really want it. If you don't really want it, it's not going to happen. If you have a negative mindset, like that other channel I referenced, a negative mindset where, well, I can't do it, and just say no from the get-go, that person's not going to do it. And if any of you watching are saying you can't do it, you're not going to do it. Excuse me. Because you got to really want it. I lived extremely frugal. When I became a cop, I was making $23,000 a year, and I had a mortgage and 2 kids, and the youngest one was a baby. And I had to really pull that belt tight because my mortgage payment was one of my 2 paychecks a month. All right, I learned how to live frugal. If someone out there watching this, because folks will watch this after the fact, if you're interested in becoming financially independent, learn how to live frugal, along with learn how to eliminate or reduce your housing expenses. And you can do that by house hacking. If you can't eliminate them, you can reduce them. All right, if you're single and you live in a big house, sell it. Buy a duplex, triplex, quadplex. Because I say duplex, 2 units, triplex, 3 units, quadplex, 4 units. I say those because you can get a residential mortgage for any of those units. If you go 5 or larger, then you have to go commercial, Going commercial is risky, especially when you're first beginning, because normally those rates will adjust after 5, 7, or maybe 10 years, and you don't want an adjustable rate mortgage, especially living, uh, us being in a time of rising interest rates. Okay. All right. So I've talked enough on that. So I know I got some questions that came in. I got my tablet here, so I can scroll back. I only got one or two. Hey, Dividend Dave, I'm doing great. Thank you. All right. Dividend Dave asked me, do you find property management area rental quotes to be fairly accurate or close to your own calculations? So far, yes. It all depends on what area you are in. I have had a total of 4 different property managers in 2 different states, Alabama and Indiana. In Alabama, when I first started there, I was told higher rates and the rent came in lower. Okay, on 2 different houses, because I think they tried to build me up, saying, "Oh, we can get this much rent," but in reality, they couldn't. All right, and they didn't. And they never did in the 4 years I had 2 houses there. Now I have 1 house there. I've sold one of my 2 houses there. In Indiana, almost always when they tell me, and it could be when I'm buying a house off the MLS, when they first look at it, know it needs work, they'll give me a pretty good idea what they think it will rent for. And normally they're spot on or they're very close to it. I just had a house up in Northwest Indiana, Gary, Indiana. I've talked about it. I bought it for $45,500. In some video I was mistaken. I said it cost me $15,000 to rehab it. The final bills came in. It was just over $19,000, like $19,200 some dollars to renovate that house. So all in, 64,000, 65,000, probably right around 65,000 all in. All right, the property manager told me they thought they could get $1,300 for it, and by golly, they got me $1,300, and the tenant's supposed to move in on July the 1st. All right, so that's good news. So if you know anything about rentals and the 1% rule, the 1% rule says if a house costs $65,000, 1% of the rent for a month is $650. If you rent it for that much, you're probably okay. So if I'm renting for $1,300 and it costs me $65 all in, that's about the 2% rule. I'm okay. It's positive. Even if rates go up, as they are going up, it's positively cash flowing. All right. So Dave, hopefully that answers your question. There's 6 of you here now. So how y'all doing? I'm not seeing, I saw on my phone, I saw other comments pop up, and I don't know why I'm not seeing them here. I was hoping to see everything on my tablet where I could scroll back. But what I'm going to do, I hate to do this again. Let's see. All right, there we go. Sorry, I only put my phone up here. I did that last time, but once I get some more income coming in, I am going to buy a new computer and probably a new tablet. I need them both. All right, so Dividend Dave, you said free in 10 years. That'll be very hard 10 years. Yes, you do have to suck it up. Michael Zuber says this. He says the first 5 years are terrible when you start investing. I think Deon Talks agrees with that. Lumberjack Landlord agrees with that. I disagree. I had 23, 25 rentals in 4 years. So, but yet, and I'll back up on one thing here. When I decided to move here to Florida, I was upgrading my house by buying something that was almost double what my house in Virginia cost. Okay. It's more expensive where I moved to versus where I came from. If I had wanted to stay in Virginia in the Shenandoah Valley, I could be living more like a king with my lifestyle. I could have stayed in that same house, living a much better lifestyle than I do here. Okay, here more, I'm not bare bones, but it's lean for the moment. It may change here later this month. We'll see. So it's hard. Yes, it is hard. But if you want to do it, you got to be willing to suck it up, to put it bluntly. And I did it because I had to. When I became a cop, I had 2 little kids that knew mortgage. I had a 105-pound German Shepherd and I had a cat and 2 parakeets. It was financially, it was hard. It was so hard. I was reading about inflating my tires to the proper air pressure to get the best possible gas mileage I could get. I was reading the most frugal tips to save money because I didn't know anything about real estate investing. If I had known something, that $10,000 or $15,000 I might have had in stocks, I would have taken and bought my first rental house. And I would have sold the house I bought and bought something cheaper. I would have bought a duplex or a triplex. My kids were little, they wouldn't have minded. As long as you got a roof over their head, they wouldn't have cared. So is it tough? Sure, it's tough. But if you really want it, it's possible. All right, let me get these comments back. Why am I not getting them? There we are. All right. Some of them disappeared. Nope, they're back. Sorry. All right, so let me scroll down here. Sound Snags. Howdy, Daniel. Hello, Daniel. Your dad, by any chance, isn't named Al, is he? Because I know an Al Nolte. He was a friend of mine when I lived in Panama. How you doing, G Waters? I appreciate you being here. Let's see, Dave, you said I'm looking at a duplex house hack strategy. I'm still getting down the market rents up in the Triad area of North Carolina. Yep, you and I talked about that, Dave. I wish you the best of luck with that. I hope it works out. Long time ago, before I became a cop, I was in a management training program for a company. And I spent a few weeks in the Tri-City area in North Carolina. Greensboro, Winston-Salem, Raleigh, that general area. Bouncing around between different locations. And I was down in Tennessee. I was in different places. Virginia, North Carolina, Virginia, South Carolina, Kannapolis, wherever Kannapolis is, North Carolina, South Carolina. They bounced me around quite a bit for 2 or 3 months, and then they relocated me to the Shenandoah Valley, which then I promptly in 6 months or so quit and became a cop. All right, let me get these comments back. All right, so Dave, you said you love to see a video on the timeline of my rental property portfolio growth build. I believe I've made a video on that. If you check my playlist out, and you'll see how I went from 0 to 25 units. I did a total of 4 videos. All right, on how I did it. I can do them again if you have trouble finding them. All right, Sound Snag. Sorry about my hand being there. Wish I had known about house hacking earlier in life. My primary is going to cost me an extra year or 2 before I'm financially free. Yep, I understand. I wish I had known about it too. If I knew everything I know now, that's one reason I have this channel. If I bought my old primary residence when I was 30 years old, almost 31. I became a cop when I was 30. I bought the house right when I was getting out of the police academy. I bought it. If I knew what I know now, if this channel was here and I was watching it back then, I wouldn't have bought my primary residence. I would have found a duplex, triplex, or quadplex, and I would have gone that route. And the ball would have started rolling right then and there. Okay? So all of us, every young person out there needs to know about this. But most will just be negative and say, I can't do it. All right, let's see. Let me get back here. All right, so Daniel, you said you're 26 years old. You live in a house with somebody or another and have another single family. I want to scale faster. Any ideas? 2 ADUs and have another single family. I'm sorry for my finger being there again. I want to scale faster. Any idea? Let me try to hang on just 1 second, everybody. I'm going to try to get these chats back on my tablet. All right, you're not seeing what I'm doing on my tablet. All right, cool. Sorry, I'm not able to do it. So I don't know what the issue is right now. So, am I understanding you right, Daniel? You said you're 26, you live in a house with 2 ADUs, and you have another single family, and you want to scale faster. All right, if that's the case, if you have 2 ADUs, if I'm reading that right, are you renting them? And if you have another single family, I assume you're renting that. So that would mean you have 3 rental units. Is that correct? And if you want to scale faster, it all depends on what your income is, how much you can save, and my tab is distracting me now. I'll turn it off. How much you can save, because you always have to, I won't say you always, but you need to have a down payment. And that down payment, you need to save money to get it. As you have rental units, if you're not save all the rent you get in, all of it, unless you got to fix something and you spend it, of course. But don't put any in your pocket. Save it all and spend it towards getting saving for your down payment for your next one. All right. There are ways to buy real estate without using your own money. I used a HELOC. That's risky. I've made a video, I think, about that being risky, because if you get a HELOC, you put your personal residence at risk. That's why I got a HELOC for $30,000. My house was paid off. It was worth, at that time, I was guessing $200,000. And for $30,000, I said if things go bad, I can pay that HELOC off. If I can sell all my stocks and pay it off if things crash. All right, so be careful with getting a HELOC. Do you have a 401k? If you have a 401k, you can take a 401k loan out. You do have to pay it back from your job, from your paycheck, but there's no tax consequences. So it's like you're getting free money because it's your money. And when you pay it back, you're paying interest back into your 401k. So you're paying interest to yourself to build your 401k balance up. We've done that once or twice. We did it once for a Burr strategy, and I think we did it one other time for something else. I forget now. All right, so anyway, scaling, always remember, I should have said this earlier, it's not a race, it's a journey. All right, it'll seem like it's taking forever. When I say it took me 4 years, it did take me 4 years. It took me 3 years, 11 months. I was in the right time at the right place. Okay, I found the right markets to go into. We're living, it's now 2022. It's not 2017 any longer, it's 2022. Things change. My first mortgage, I think, was a rate of 5 or 6%. I've refinanced since then, so I can't remember the original, but kind of what rates are right now. So rates were coming down. When I bought my first one, rates were, I think, starting to come down. I don't think it was 7%, but it might have been. Sorry about this. I'm trying to minimize my finger going up. All right, got that. Millennial Mike, I'm glad you made it through your training safely, and glad that you're here. And I am a man, but I'm not the man. You're the man, Mike. Your channel is much larger than I am. And that sounds snag says, Millennial Mike is a man of many talents. Yes, he is. Dividend Dave, you're going to go back and watch his videos? Yes. Daniel. Not a lot of Nolte's around. I am probably related to him. I have a lot of family from the Frederick and Hagerstown, Maryland area. Hey, interesting. I'm actually from Maryland. Frederick is an hour or so from where I grew up at. I grew up north of Baltimore City, up near Pennsylvania. It's very expensive there right now. I like growing up there. I played a lot in the countryside, cornfields, woods, running around a lot, playing out in my backyard by myself, throwing the ball up there and catching it, playing with friends, playing t-ball. Life is different now. Most kids, you won't see them outside playing. Life is different. But Maryland is high property taxes, I know. And just like Florida is high property taxes too. All right, let me get this back. Why these? I'm not an expert at these. There we go. There we go. At these. So anyway, Daniel, real quick here. I was stationed in the country of Panama. His first name was Al, like Albert. He was probably, we're Facebook friends now. He was probably 20 years, 25 years older than me at that time. He's still alive as far as I know. I'll email him on Facebook. Ask him if he knows you by any chance. In Panama, he told me when he was stationed there when he was younger and got out of the military, whatever branch he was in, and then he drove from the United States down to the country of Panama, either in a car or a motorcycle. And when I was stationed there, right around the time of Noriega, you could not drive through all those countries like that, like he did. He had done it 10 or 15 years previously. All right. While I was in Panama, I drove a motorcycle too. That's why I can't remember if he said he drove a motorcycle or a car. But anyway, let's see. All right, Shar, thanks for being here. How do you know when it's time to sell an investment property? That's a good question. It's different for everybody. All right, I have sold 3 of my rental properties. Let me think real quick on why I sold each one. One was my second rental house that I bought. It was in the Shenandoah Valley. Single family home. I bought it in December of 2017. It was a cute house. It had been renovated 3 years before I bought it. And the person who bought it prior to me kind of destroyed it. Had a bad relationship. Doors were busted from the guy chasing the girl, punching and kicking the door in. They had dogs in the house. It was messed up. But it was all, for the most part, cosmetic. We replaced doors, replaced door jambs, cleaned it, steam cleaned the carpet. So I bought it under market value because it was so dirty. I bought it for $97,500. I knew by that was in December 2017, 2019, I wanted the tenants that were there to stay, and I wanted to raise their rent like 25 or $30, and they said no. They would not take that rent increase. And I said, why not? And they said, we don't want to pay that much. And I said, all right, tell you what. I thought about it for a while, and I got back to them and said, tell you what, I'm going to put the house on the market, and I'll give you guys first dibs if you want to buy it. And they thought about it and said they didn't have the money, they couldn't get the down payment, so they weren't going to do it. Lo and behold, when they moved out, their rent was $975, and I was raising it to $1,000. I was raising $25. When they moved out, I saw them after the fact. The only place they could find that was suitable to them, the rent was like $1,200 or $1,300. So they should have stayed. If they had stayed, I never would have sold that house. But I put it on the market, and it sold quick. It was in 2019. And there was a guy from Pennsylvania, a house in Virginia, bought it sight unseen, but he said he wanted 3 days to go check it out in person. He checked it out, agreed to buy it. He bought it for like $135,000, $136,000. So when I sold it, bought it for $97,500. I put a 20% down payment. So my mortgage was probably $80,000 in the high 70s. So I was pocketing 45, 50, 55,000, somewhere in there. I turned that money into 4 houses. All right, I found a cheaper market up in Northwest Indiana, and I might have gotten 60 grand back altogether, but I turned that money into 4 houses. All right, the second property I sold was my triplex. I had owned my triplex. I bought that in May of 2018. I just sold it in December of 2021. Main reason I sold it, I had completely renovated that building, inside and outside. I made that place look nice. Cost me a little bit because it was run down. I was only 20 years old, but it was just beat up bad. And one of my tenants wanted to buy it, and I wanted to help him out, so I was willing to sell it to him. And I sold it to him for a good price. It was good for him, it was good for me. I could have sold it for more on the open market, but I decided to sell it to him and help him out to get started. And then, and also combined with the fact that I'm now living 1,000 miles away. And I knew with the 3 tenants I had in there, if I didn't sell it, I could manage it from 1,000 miles away. I know contractors there. I knew who to call if I had trouble. But first time somebody moved out, I need a property manager. And I had done a cashback refinance on that building, along with another single family home that helped me to buy 9 more properties. So when I did that cashback refinance, I wasn't cash flowing as well in the triplex. I was still cash flowing very well, but it was like, maybe I was cash flowing close to $300 a unit. But if I had to pay a property manager for those 3 units, then it would have knocked it down to like $200 a unit. And I want more cash flow than that. So I agreed to sell it. Plus I was 1,000 miles away. I didn't want to, if something bad happened, I'd want to go inspect it or whatnot, and I'm 1,000 miles away. So I ended up selling that one. The third one I sold was down in Birmingham, Alabama. I call it jokingly my cursed house. From day one, we got bad tenants. When they finally got rid of that tenant, we got bad tenants again. And I had completely rehabbed that house for $22,000. I bought it for 24, rehabbed it for 22. I did the cashback refinance on that one as a burr strategy. All in was 46, and it appraised for 77, and I refinanced at 51,500. So anyway, when the second bad tenant was in there, and she hung on, and we had to evict her, and she hung on for months. I came to the conclusion I wanted to sell it because I was tired of dealing with it. I only had 2 houses down there. I was on my 3rd property manager in Birmingham. I could not find the right team, could not find the right boots on the ground. The contractors they hired were expensive. They charged an extra 10% on top of the contractor, so it made the work even more expensive. So I decided to sell that. When I sold it, I got $85,000 for it. After paying the realtor's fee, I really didn't make anything. I probably broke even on it, but I'm just glad to be rid of it. Sometimes if you get a large portfolio, odds are you're going to get a house somewhere along the way that for whatever reason, you just don't like it. Maybe you just have bad luck with it. Maybe it's the house. Maybe it's the tenants. Maybe it's you. Just, the person who bought it, I think they're a homeowner. It's a cute house. My buddy Will has been in there with me. It's a cute house. It's across the street from a golf course. And if it's a homeowner living there, they'll take care of it. Tenants, bad tenants, I had to rehab that house again over the past, before I sold it, and spent another $15,000 or something to fix it from the previous two tenants. So it wasn't good. So, but that's the three houses I sold. There's always, some folks never sell. Some folks say always do a 1031 exchange. I haven't done one yet. Why? Because when I sold my first one, I didn't really know what a 1031 exchange was. When I sold the triplex, I knew I wanted to take the proceeds that I was going to get and immediately deploy them into one of my oil drilling investments, and that's a tax write-off when you put money into oil. So I wasn't too worried about the 1031. And the one in Birmingham, I think when it's all said and done, we do our taxes next year. I'm basically, for tax reasons, purposes, I think I'm more or less breaking even on it. So maybe, or if there's any capital gains, it's going to be very small. So anyway, so we can get this back. All right. So as Millennial Mike says, it's not a race, it's a journey, but some people want to get to the better parts of the journey a little bit quicker. Laugh out loud. I completely understand that sentiment. Yes, some people do. I have talked to a lot of people. I talked to police officers. I talked to other folks. A couple individuals sat on my front porch when I lived in Virginia talking with me, and they all had the same mentality. I had one I was talking to about real estate and stocks. I'm not going to say who it is. And he told me, he goes, well, I'll give you $5,000 or $10,000, whatever it was, if you can promise or guarantee to me that you can double it in 1 year from stock investing. And I was like, no, I'm not going to guarantee I can double it. That's a 100% return in 1 year. I can't guarantee that. And we're talking about rental property. And I said, my minimum is $250 a month. And he was like, you buy a rental property where you deal with tenants and whatnot for $250 a month? And I was like, you don't understand. I explained to him that's positive cash flow because your tenant is paying your mortgage, your taxes, your insurance, and you're holding out money from your tenant for vacancies, repairs, and capital expenditures. So in theory, your tenant is paying to fix anything that breaks. And then you want a minimum of $250 a month, but over time you will increase the rent. And it'll go to $300, $350, $400. I was looking at a spreadsheet earlier today that shows my rent. And my best one right now is $600 roughly. I'm refinancing that. And when I refinance it, it's going to be a cashback refinance because the mortgage is like $38,000 and I'm trying to refinance for $60,000 as long as it'll appraise for like $90,000 or higher. And what will happen is my mortgage payment will go up, especially with the interest rate being like 6.5%. It's going to go up. My cash flow will drop, but my cash flow will still be like $440, I think, $440 a month, which is good cash flow. But now I'll get a little chunk of money in my pocket because I'm doing a cashback refinance. I might get $17,000, $18,000 in my pocket that could buy me another investment. Okay. So the get rich mentality does not work. If you're watching my channel at all, and you got the get rich mentality, like, I want to be rich now. Yes, you might want to be rich now, but if you think you can become rich now, you're not watching the right channel. I'm not going to talk to you about how you can quadruple your money in 6 months or a year, even though I have quadrupled my money in 6 months to a year with stock investing. I rode the cloud wave back in 2018, 2019, 2020, the cloud stocks. I rode them, and I had some, I don't know if I did a 10x in 1 year, but 5x in 1 year, I think I did that. I bought rental property at the right time. Some of my rental properties have really gone up. I'm curious what that appraisal will be on the one, because when I bought that, I bought it for maybe $50,000. So if it appraises for 90 or 100, that means I doubled my money in 2 or 3 years. So, but I never went into this with the get rich quick mentality. Yes, I might dream about it, but I didn't express it. I didn't write it down as my goal. It's a journey. It takes time. I say the average working American can do it in 10 years, but it's going to be tight. They're going to have to pull their belt tight. They're going to have to make sacrifices. If they own a personal residence and they have to sell it to move into a duplex or triplex or quadplex, it's going to hurt. You go from your own house and your own backyard to an apartment. It's going to hurt. But how bad do you want it? Let me ask you this. Working is detrimental to your health. Working is detrimental to your wallet. Working is detrimental to your finances. When I was a cop, the mentality was no police officer ever gets laid off. Guess what? They do. My city I worked for had a policy. If there's a layoff, the most recently hired will be the first one to be laid off. When the Great Recession hit, that paragraph went out of the policy, and they laid off 2 individuals who had more seniority in the police department. They weren't liked. They had those reasons. They couldn't fire them, so they wanted to, but they laid them off. And that's not right. This just wasn't right. But anyway, it happens. Dion talked. Dion got laid off from his police department out in the Northwest during that same time period, I think. So look at Coinbase. They just announced they're laying off like 18% of their employment. Other jobs out there, they're announcing they're getting rid of certain jobs. If those people lose their paycheck, what are they going to do? But if those people have been investing all along, sure, it'd be tight. It sucks to lose your job. But maybe you got $1,000, you got 4 rental house, you got $1,000 coming in. Well, you got something at least. And then you got to live off that. Maybe you can live off your investment income until you get your next job. But working is bad for you. Think how many people wreck their car driving to or from work. It's risky. Think how much gas costs right now. And if you're driving your personal car to and from work and you wreck it, especially if it's your fault, that's not good. All right, let me go back up here. Sorry about my finger again. I'm sorry. Oops, there's my camera there. Let me go this way. All right, Sound Snags. I'm just seeing this now. You're having big tornado warnings here in Green Bay. Going to the basement. Catch the rest of the stream later. Thanks, Mazske. Thank you, Sound Snags. It'll be on my channel an hour or so after I finish it. When I upload after I finish it, it's going to take a while to upload. All right, Dividend Dave asks, what signs do you look for in a property manager that tells you they won't work out? Well, Dave, I don't know if I'm the best person to answer that question. In Birmingham, I was not successful. I went through 3 property managers. I can be kind of quick sometimes. I can be impatient sometimes. And if someone doesn't live up to my expectations in property management, I will give them the hook. In Indiana, I fired my first one. I didn't say I didn't use that word that I was firing her, but I started with one property manager. Now I have a husband-wife team. The first one, she was with the turnkey operation, and she was pretty new at it. I met her in person. We had a nice talk, but I think she was kind of green at being a property manager, and I didn't want to be the guinea pig. I didn't want to have, she messed up a few different times with me, and I think it was 3 times and you're out. And so then I switched. By that time, I had other houses, and then the other husband-wife team were managing it, and I went with them. And they're good people. I don't know how to say it without. I've known them for a couple of years now. They're just good people, and you need a good person who cares. All right, if you don't have someone who cares, they're just on a job. It's different. But if you find the right person, and we're all different. There's people in my mastermind group that are moving on to a different property manager because they got the issues a little bit with the husband-wife team. But for me, I've been in touch with both today. We've been texting today. We don't talk a lot, but we've been texting a lot, and I hope to meet them. They visit my area, and I need to visit that area again. So I hope to meet them sometime. But I am not an expert on finding property managers, but all I can say is talk to several ones, feel them out, and find out who meshes with you, because we're all different. I may get along great with this person, and you get along great with that person. The ones I fired in Birmingham might be the best ones for another investor. Okay, we're all different. All right. Hey, John, thank you. Yes, I'm trying to teach. So I need better technology. I don't like to put my finger up. All right. G Waters, what happens to the house price with interest rates going up? Hope you don't mind. I'm watching the Met game while listening to you. No problem. I think the Orioles are on TV right now, and I'm missing it because I'm in here, and I try to watch all their games. I subscribe to MLB TV to watch their games. So it's hot in this room too. I got the fan on, but the afternoon heat comes in the window. So house prices with interest rates going up. Right now, with houses I got, both in Chicago and in Northwest Indiana, I need to refinance once. It's basically like 3 borough projects. and I need to refinance all three when they're done. The Gary house is now done, but the lender told me they need 4 months of seasoning. I closed on it late March, so I cannot refinance until late July. Rates are ticking up. I paid cash for that house, so that means worst case scenario, I my priority is positive cash flow. My priority, I'd love to get all my money back, but that's not my priority. My priority is positive cash flow and get some money back. So if interest rates tick up even higher because the Fed raised them 0.75 points today, if my rate is higher and my payment's higher and my cash flow goes down, I may not go. I might go as low as $50,000 for the refinance because I think that's the lowest the lender will do. So I will sacrifice cash back in order to maintain the positive cash flow. All right, my house in Chicago, same thing for my second house in Chicago. I pay cash for it, and same deal. I'm flexible in how much money I get back. That should appraise higher, I think, than Gary will. And if I have to go as low as like 50K back to keep my mortgage payment low enough, then I will do that. Okay, I don't need. I'd like to get all my money back. I'd like to get more than all my money back, but I need deposit cash flow to live on. So, but the big chunks of money then I can use to get more investments, which will help me to live even better. All right, Dave, driving 60 miles to and from work 4 days a week isn't fun. I understand. I drove, when I was a cop, I drove something like 22 miles to and from, worked 12-hour shifts, 12 and a half hour shifts a lot of times, 10-hour shifts other times with one schedule. And when I was younger, I liked it. It was downtime. It was time to relax, time to wake up, go on there, or time to chill out while coming home. But the older I got, especially when I got getting closer to retirement, I was like, why did I do this? Why am I living so far away? I want to live closer. Because especially back, you might remember back, if you're my age or if you're not 20 right now, you might remember 2008, 2009. It was under Bush when he was president. Gas prices shot up to about $4. 2007, I think they hit $4. I was taking a vacation to New Jersey once that summer when they peaked. And in New Jersey, they were like $4.50-ish. And in Virginia, they were around $4 a gallon. So it got more expensive to drive. Just like now, gas prices are up around $5, so it's more expensive to drive. So anyway, all right. So hopefully something I've said here is beneficial to any of you that have tuned in or any of you that are watching this after the fact. All right, it seems like the questions have kind of stopped. So I do appreciate all of you watching. If you got any more questions, I'll hang out for a few more minutes. I can talk. I can talk to a brick wall, I think, sometimes. So if you got any more questions, put them up there. One things I am semi-knowledgeable about, but I'm not an expert on anything. I have invested in rental property. I have invested in stocks. I have invested in mutual funds. I have invested in crypto. I have invested in oil drilling. I have invested in mineral rights investing. I have looked into, but have not done, farmland investing, investing in wine, investing in art. But I've looked into those, but as of yet have not done them. I've also looked into investing in insurance a little bit, and I have not done that either. I made a video about that one too, and I don't think I'm going to go that route with doing that. I've said this many times in my videos. After being a stock investor for 30 plus years and having great returns, I truly feel real estate is the way to really create wealth. If you want financial independence, if you make a lot of money, you put it in stocks and you double it, yes, you got a lot of money. But if you're just the average blue collar worker, unless you got killer returns, you're just not going to do it with stocks. But if you get real estate and you make good buys, you buy below market value, you make sure you have positive cash flow, never have an alligator. An alligator is negative cash flow. Always have positive cash flow, and that is the best way to create wealth. If you look at anybody in my mastermind group, except for I think one person who doesn't have any rentals yet, they all have rental property and they're all using that to increase their wealth. Once you get there and you have a net worth of around $1 million, you have alternatives. I found out about alternative investing. I chose to invest in both mineral rights and oil drilling. I like them both. I would caution anyone, though, to be very careful of who they go with because there are scams out there. There are scams out there with rental property. There are scams out there with crypto. There are scams out there with oil drilling and with mineral rights. So do your due diligence. Even if I tell you a name, don't just take that as gospel and go invest with them. Do your own due diligence because maybe I missed something. All right. And I'm not an expert. I can't guarantee. And that's why I have my channel. I always say I'm not a CPA. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not an attorney because never take exactly anything I say and just act directly upon it. Do your own due diligence because no one, not even the experts, are truly experts. Yes, people have more experience than others. People have lived longer than others. People learn more as they live. But no one, and you can watch any YouTube channel out there. No one is a true expert. Some are just more knowledgeable than others, just a bit. Okay? So anyway, what else then? Oh, mineral rights and oil. I've been in touch with both those companies in recent days, and returns are starting to go up. And I only get paid usually once a month, so I have to, just like my rent checks, I have to wait. And I don't know exactly how much I'm getting until I get it. But you look at the price of gas, you look at the price of a barrel of oil, you look at the price of natural gas. Natural gas is used in the production of electricity. So you think about it as heating a house in the wintertime, but it's also used in the summertime around the country in production. Plus, the United States is exporting liquid natural gas over to Europe because of the whole Ukraine-Russian conflict there. So with the current administration, I try to stay away from politics on this channel, but with the current administration, they're anti-fossil fuels. I am an environmentalist. I like trees, okay? I like nature. But if I can invest, well, one thing the administration today is missing, and one thing a lot of the green folks are missing is we as Americans are addicted to oil. We drive our cars, we heat our homes, we power our houses, we love our cell phones, we wear glasses, we drink out of that cup's metal, we drink out of cups that are plastic. Plastic comes from oil. A Tesla, a battery powered car, almost the entire car is made from oil. All the other electric cars, the Nissan one, the different ones, they all have lithium, copper, different natural resources, and oil is in tires, it's in plastic, it's in the dash, it's in the battery pack. Somehow they got it in the packaging there. We are addicted to oil. So until we learn how to break that addiction and have the alternative fuel that can replace oil, it's going to be around for a long time to come, no matter what anybody says or does to try to do it. If you want to know why the price of oil is expensive, the current administration wrote a letter to Exxon today, the CEO of Exxon, or maybe not today, but recently, telling him that it's obscene how much profit the oil companies are making. Excuse me, what's obscene is that we're selling our natural resources to the Middle East. We're selling them to other countries. It was also obscene that we were buying oil up until just several months ago. We were buying 800,000 barrels a day from Russia. We buy oil from Iraq, Afghanistan, those countries there. They're our enemies. We have in this country, and I didn't know this just 3 years ago, we have more natural resources with oil and natural gas than almost any place in the world. We can supply, we need, as the United States right now, we need about 20 million barrels a day. We provide 11 million barrels a day. We have the reserve to get up to 20 million barrels a day, but society is against it. So if we're using 11 but we need 20, where are we getting it from? We're buying it from someone else. But when you buy it from someone else, it costs more. We have it here. All right, so go figure. Go figure. But anyway, as an investor, why not capitalize on it? All right, there are times in investing that one investment is better than another for whatever reason. If you are a stock investor, if you're an index fund investor, I caution you right now. I'm not telling you what to do, but I caution you, we may be going in through a period of stagnation for the next umpteen years, however long, many years that is. Could be 1, 2, 3, could be 10. And there might be better places to put your money. All right. I learned this after investing through the dot-com crash around the year 2000, 2001, the Great Recession, 2007 through 2009, and other smaller recessions. I kept investing through all of them, but in hindsight, when I saw the market get euphoric, like it's been 6 months ago, I sold my stocks. By 6 months ago, I had sold out. Probably about a year ago, I had sold out of all my stocks. My spouse's 401k. I called up and said I wanted to cash it out, and they said you can't. I said she no longer works there and she turned 50. I want to cash it out, and they said you. Well, once she turned 50, I could, but they said I couldn't just. I wanted the cash to sit in cash. It was for Vanguard, just sit in cash because I didn't want to put it in the market. And they said you can't do that. We do not allow that. And I was like, well, that's just wrong. I said, then I want the least volatile investment you have, the safest investment you have that's not tied to the stock market. And they had short-term bond reserve or something. And every month we have a little bit of money left in there, and every month we get something. So it's going up. I'm just tapping into it to do my rehabs, but it goes up, whereas the stock market is still going down. It might have bumped up today, but it's still going down. So if you are a stock investor, I caution you. All right. If you're a real estate investor, as my buddy Will knows, I think he's working right now, so he might not be tuning in. He has 4 rentals, and he's had trouble with all 4 rentals. Right now, I don't think he's getting rent for 3 out of 4 rentals. That hurts. That hurts. Statistically, that's not normal. That's worse than normal. But be aware, if you are getting into it, that might be you. All right, it might be you. So you just never know. I was talking to my property manager the other day, and they told me I am the only investor I think that they have in that area in Northwest Indiana that has not had an eviction yet in one of the houses. Every other investor, I think they think, has had at least one eviction or several, including my 2 sons. My youngest son is 24, just bought his first house. His tenant may need to get evicted. My oldest son has the eviction going on. My mastermind group, there's several evictions going on. But as of yet, knock on wood, I haven't had to evict anyone there yet. So, but they do happen. All right. I'm trying to make those comments disappear because there we go. I finally got something. Okay. All right, sorry, these comments weren't popping up. Dividend Day, while you drive, you can listen to mazske. I appreciate that. All right. Jamil, can you talk about the difference in mineral rights versus oil and gas? Sure. And Dividend said, what are the biggest mistakes you made as an investor? All right, so Jamil first. The differences in mineral rights versus oil and gas. All right. With oil drilling, you have a working interest. All right, it's an oil drilling operation. I invest with King Operation Corporation. All right, you can Google them. They got a website. They have a YouTube channel. They drill wells. They have leased something like 12,000 acres, something like that, in 5 or 6 different states: Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Colorado, Wyoming. And they have vintage wells. Vintage wells are wells that are already there, that are giving us revenue, and they're drilling new wells. And when you drill a new well, that's when the returns can jump up. How high they'll jump up, I'll find out, because they just recently completed drilling 2 wells and returns are starting to go up. They're expecting this month at least a 20% return, and next month I think 30-something% return for the month, annualized. Okay, so, but there's risk with a working interest. The company I have has never had a cash call, and they tell me they won't have a cash call. Cash call means they could call an investor up and say, you need to pony up $50,000 or whatever it might be. The company I invest with hasn't done that, and they say they don't do it. All right. But if something breaks when they're drilling the well, something breaks in the pump, something breaks in the storage, something happens, the workers get COVID and they can't work, it affects your revenue. Because the expenses come out of the revenue. Whatever money they make a lot of money, but the money that trickles down to the investors is less because all the expenses get paid. Okay. With mineral rights, I use a different company. It's Eckerd Land and Acquisition. Eckerd is ECKARD. Eckerd Land and Acquisition. Mineral rights, you're buying, you're legally buying. You get a deed, the surface underneath the ground, the rights to the whatever's down there underneath the surface top. Okay, it's recorded in a courthouse. All right, they're investing in Oklahoma. They say to them, Oklahoma is the most friendliest state for mineral rights investing because they allow pooled investing. If they buy, and I'm going to give an example here. Let me see if I can do something here. Nothing confidential in this piece, but say it, that's land. And that's a section is 640 acres times 2, 1,280 acres is one section of land. It's like a rectangle. Say that's the 1,280. Say you bought an acre in this corner. Say Mazske bought an acre in this corner. Dividend Dave bought one up in this corner. Millennial Mike bought one down this corner. Jameel bought one right in the middle there. It doesn't matter where the oil well is drilled or where the oil is coming from. All investors in there get their pro rata percentage. If there's 100 acres and I own 1 acre, then I get 1% of the earnings. If you have 5 acres, you get 5% of the earnings. But we all get our pro rata. Again, it doesn't matter if I own it down here and all the oil is drilled up here. Everybody gets some of it. So with mineral rights, I like them both. You do have to be accredited to invest in either one. All right. Real quick, if you don't know what accreditation is, 2 ways you can do it. One is with your income. If you have a high annual income of at least $200,000 a year if you're single, $300,000 a year if you're married, and you've had it for the past 2 years and you expect to have it for the foreseeable future, that means you're accredited. Or the way real estate investors get it more so is by having a higher net worth, a net worth, not counting your personal residence, of at least $1 million. If you have a net worth of $1 million, you can invest in either oil drilling or mineral rights investing. If you asked me, which one do you recommend? I can't pick one over the other. They're both good. I know with one of the companies, the mineral rights one, Troy, I've met Troy. You can see a video. I got a picture of me and Troy on as a thumbnail. Great guy. Great guy. He's been in oil business for 37 years. He's all about helping his partners out, helping us get good return. He does not like almost any other oil drilling company, it sounds like. He does not like King. I don't know. I know I've been told why he doesn't like them, but the reason is I haven't had a problem with that at all. King has treated me well. Tom has been on my channel, Tom Gray. He's my contact with King. I have a video with him. All right, so he's been on my channel. We text, not daily, but just today we were texting about different things. So I like both investments. I think the mineral rights may be safer than the oil drilling. All right, but I don't know yet which one will have better returns. I hope they both have great returns, and I don't care which one does better if they both have great returns. But even right now, I don't know which one will do better than the other one. I just don't know. All right, and Dividend Dave, what are some of the biggest mistakes you've made as an investor? All right, I'm gonna try to do something here. I don't know why that's happening. I've made a lot of mistakes as an investor. I started investing in mutual funds in 1990 when I was like 22 years old. That was not a mistake. That was the best decision of my life to start investing at that age. When I went all into individual stocks in 1999, I went all into primarily growth stocks, and the market subsequently crashed, the dot-com crash in 2000, 2001, and my portfolio was cut in half. But knowing what I know now, I should have gone all in right then. I should have done it differently. I should have pulled some of that money out. I should have taken some of the profit. It was an IRA for the most part. I could have kept the cash in my IRA, but I should have taken some of the profit. And because I didn't recognize the signs back then of the market being overvalued. Irrational exuberance. I think that was an Alan Greenspan term back then. Irrational exuberance. It was just pets.com. Companies that had no earnings going up and making a ton of money. We've had the same thing happening in more recent times here. Companies without earnings, the stock price was just going up. I started pulling out. I took money, put it into oil. I took money, put it into mineral rights. I pulled out. All right. So, but the biggest mistake I think I made was I jumped into real estate investing literally and intentionally. I did this. I jumped into it without knowing what I was doing. I love to read. I knew about YouTube. I watch YouTube. But I intentionally did not read any real estate books. I did not watch any YouTube videos. I called a real estate agent up who had investment property. She helped me to get my first rental property, but I did not know what I was doing, and promptly I got a tenant who flashed cash in front of my eyes. I accepted it, and promptly I had to evict her after 2 months, I think, and it was painful. She hung on. She knew the system. She knew how to play the game. And I was there when the deputies came to set her out, gave her 24 hours, and she hung on to the end. And then she finally got out. And knowing what I know now, it's like, Maskey, don't be so stupid. Why didn't you watch YouTube? Why didn't you read one of these books? I meant to show you these books earlier. I have links in my videos to real estate books. I encourage you, if you don't have them, to buy them. The reason I put links there, I'm trying to make an extra buck. I'm an Amazon affiliate. If you click on one of those links, I will get a small commission. It's not much. It's not much. So if you spend $10, maybe I'll get a quarter. Okay, it's not much. But it doesn't cost you a cent. And if you click on the link for one of those books and you don't want that book, but you just go buy something else on Amazon, I will still get a commission on whatever you buy because my link took you to Amazon. Okay, so real quick, I love this book, Retire Early with Real Estate by Chad Carson. All right, the lighting, that changed the lighting here. But anyway, Chad, I had him talk to my mastermind group one time. Great guy. I emailed him just recently the other day. Great guy. In his book, he talks about real estate, and he has, at the end of each chapter, he has profiles of a real estate investor who was an early retiree. All right, so Chad Carson, Retire Early with Real Estate. All right. Another great book, Building Wealth One House at a Time by John Shaw. Great book. It's not too thick. He started 20, 30 years ago. You build wealth one house at a time. Another great book. This is just a great book by Brandon Turner of Bigger Pockets. It's the book on rental property investing. If I had picked this book up before I bought my first house and read through it, I would have learned everything I need to know about real estate investing. All right. Michael Zuber, One Rental at a Time. Thin book. He self-published this. It's a good book. He shares his story. He took 20 years to get financially independent, I think, 20-ish. And he shares his story there. But it's a good book. It's not a how-to book, though. He just shares his story. This book really helped me out. This one helped me to break into outside of my area. And this is Long Distance Real Estate Investing by David Green. Okay, it's published through Bigger Pockets. I think it's also on Amazon. Long Distance Real Estate Investing by David Green. When I read that book, that's what gave me the confidence to buy my first house in Alabama and then to branch out to Indiana. That book, he just broke it down. All right, so that book did it. All right, and for some reason I don't, let me see if I can get up there. All right, here we go. All right, G. Waters said, do you see real estate slowing? Do you see real estate slowing in Gary? Yes. I haven't looked as much as I should in the past week or two. I've been busy with other stuff. But I do check my area here in Florida, and I check Indiana periodically. I check Chicago, and I check in Virginia. And what's happening is, it started a month or two ago. Sellers were exuberant about selling their house at a high price, and the first thing I noticed was prices started getting cut. That was the first sign. Because when prices get cut, they were asking too high of a price because, hey, my buddy sold this house. My father, my mother, my brother sold a house at this high price. I want to sell it for a lot of money. But the market has started to change and the price would get cut. Not a lot, $5,000, $10,000, but they started getting cut. Also, Houses were selling, like in my area here in Florida, selling quick. In Gary, I bought a house in March. When I put an offer in on it, there were 8 other offers. All right, 8 other offers. I don't know if I put an offer on a house today if there'd be 8 other offers. I don't think there will be. I think it's slowing down. What's my prediction, and I'm not an expert, my prediction of what's going to happen is there's a lot of newbie real estate investors out there all over this country. They've watched one of the other gurus on YouTube and they jumped into it. A lot of them are buying commercial property, buying apartments, that sort of thing. There's people buying in Gary from California. They don't know what they're doing. They've never been to Gary. Gary's risky. If you've never been there, it's risky. But I'm investing there. But you're going to see, I think, real estate investors pull out. Maybe they'll sell their properties. Maybe if it's commercial, it's an apartment building. Maybe it gets refinanced and they can afford it and they'll sell it. All right. So that'll happen. But you also might have what's happened in other recessions. Lenders might get tighter with their mortgage criteria, or they might not want to give a mortgage to someone that they gave one to 6 months ago. All right. That's a possibility. Banks could get tighter. It could be harder to get a mortgage. But we have out there non-QM lenders. I know of 2 non-QM lenders, Stephen Dow with Velocity Mortgage and Kiabe. Kiabe used to be Lending Home. I think I'm using Kiabe now for my refinancing, Gary, and I'm using Kiabe for my houses in Chicago. A non-QM lender is going to be a higher interest rate than a conventional bank, but they look at the asset. They don't look at you as the individual. Oh, man. I mentioned to Neil in another video. My neighbor of mine, a friend of mine, he just sent me a text saying he tested positive for COVID. COVID's out there, ladies and gentlemen. My neighbor's gotten it. Another buddy of mine got it here in Miami. It's coming back. All right. I'm flying out of the country in a couple of weeks. Hopefully I avoid it. So it doesn't, and I'm flying to the West Coast here in a couple of months. So hopefully I don't get it. But the real estate market, yes, it's starting to slow down in Gary. It's slowing down everywhere. All right, Dividend Dave. All right, Bill, thank you. I appreciate that comment. Oh, man. What? My comments disappear and then come back. All right, sorry. Can you elaborate in the non-QM lender what types? Non-QM lender, QM is like qualified mortgage. I'm sweating. It's hot in here. The lenders, they are, like I said, they look at the asset, not the individual. They will do a light credit pool, not a hard credit pool. They do not ask for a tax return. They do not ask for W-2 income. They don't ask to provide a statement. Like I say 20-something rentals. They don't ask for me to provide information on all my rental properties. All they want to know is a light credit pool on me. My credit score is around 800. They look at what I'm refinancing that house in Gary. It got appraised this morning. I don't know what it's going to appraise for, but if it appraises for 40 grand, they're not going to do the refinance. But if it appraises for what I think it will appraise for, they'll do the refinance. Everything's done online or texting and phone calls, emails. It's relatively easy as compared to getting a conventional mortgage. The more rentals I got with getting conventional mortgages, it got stressful. Every single mortgage I had to provide all the paperwork for buying the house, all the insurance paperwork, all the tax paperwork for paying my tax bill, all my W-2 income, my retirement income, all this, how much rent does each house rent for? Because that's a conventional bank. Non-QM lender, they don't ask for that. It's easy. It's so much easier. Interest rates, I logged into my account earlier today. They were showing like a 6.25, I think, for my refinance, or 6.35, whatever it was. And today they're showing a 6.5% for the rate. Rates are ticking up. I have been in touch with that credit union in Virginia recently on a refinance. I'm not going to do it, but they were giving me a rate of 5.5. And this was just like within the past couple weeks. So rates are ticking up. Non-QM lenders, I can't remember exactly what their fee is. I think Don't hold me to this. Don't quote me on this. I think when I do a refinance or I get a mortgage, I'm looking at $3,000 to $4,000 all in on closing costs and fees, and that's about what I was paying when I bought a rental house and getting a mortgage from a conventional mortgage. I was paying about 4 grand, 4,500 in closing costs. So there we go. All right. When you say what types, Dave, what do you mean? Well, the two I know about are Velocity Mortgage, Stephen Dow. I've talked to him on the phone a couple times. We've emailed, and then Kiavi, Kiavi. I have two videos out with Millennial Mike where we're talking about Kiavi. I do have a link in those two emails. On those two videos about Kiavi, I have a link in the description where if you click on that link, it'll take you to Kiavi. And if you apply for a mortgage or a refinance, and if you get approved and you close on the property, then you will get $350 and I will get $500. It's a referral fee. And so it's win-win. It doesn't cost you anything additional, but you get $350 and I get $500. So it's win-win. As of yet, one person has done it, but Kiavi hasn't paid me that $500 yet, but they're working on it. They said it should be any day now. So, but I like Kiavi. I like him. I like Stephen Dow too. I've talked to him. I like him, but for personal reasons, I chose to go with Kiavi. Okay. All right. Let's see if we got anything else. If you got any more questions, put them in there. There's only 5 of you here watching now. So I appreciate all of you being here. I should probably get off here. We go out for a nightly walk, and it's about time for my nightly walk. And the Orioles are on, so I'll probably stick them on the TV. Then by the time I get back, the game will be further moved on. So hopefully you got something out of this video today. If you watched it live, thank you for being here. If you're watching it after the fact, thank you for being here. Orioles are losing to the Blue Jays 5-2 right now. Just popped up my tablet. So I appreciate you being here. Give me feedback on what you think. Do you like these live formats? Let me know if I do them approximately every other week on a Wednesday at 7 p.m. If that's good for you. No day or time accommodates everyone. Due to my traveling this summer, the schedule may get tweaked. And real quick, if you're not using credit cards to benefit your life, I'm just going to be real quick here because I got to get out of here. You got to get credit cards and get the sign-up bonuses to get the points to get free travel. I am traveling out of country. I have 2 airplane tickets, first class, flying there, first class flying back, free. I am staying 2 nights in a resort, 4 nights in an Airbnb, and 1 night in a Hampton Inn, free. I am getting a rental car, free. Later in the summer, I am flying to Chicago. I'm flying to California. I already have the 2 airplane tickets. I'm not flying first class because it cost me more for that flight. So I got the tickets. I am staying 2 nights in a place that the cheapest I've seen rooms are like $997. I'm staying 2 nights in this place on Coronado Island outside of San Diego. And then I'm probably staying in like a DoubleTree or a Hampton the next 5 nights. I haven't made the reservations yet, but they're all going to be free. I actually have 2 more free nights in any Hilton hotel. And I told the missus today, maybe we should, they're up in Beverly Hills, there's a Waldorf Astoria, and it's like another $1,000 a night place, luxurious type hotel. Maybe we should use our 2 nights there on that one trip, or maybe we'll just save them and for a future trip. But credit cards, you got to have a good credit score. I don't mean to talk on this too much. You got to have a good credit score to get the good credit cards. Go to choosefi.com. They have a credit card course that's free. That's more information than you need to know. That covers everything. There are Facebook pages on travel hacking. You can look up those pages. I can give you a referral for a lot of different Chase cards. Chase Sapphire Preferred, Chase Business Cards, Chase Freedom Flex. I can refer you to any Chase card I have if you like that. If you want to get referred, send me an email. My email is always in the description below. It's my channel name, mazskefinance@gmail.com. I can send you a referral link to the credit card. Most of the credit cards, if you get it, you apply and you get it, I might get like 10,000 points, 15,000 points. Um, with the free hotel rooms, I got a American Express Hilton Honors Aspire card. It gives me the diamond thingamajigger on it. It gives me free hotel rooms. Because of the virus, the pandemic, I accumulated rooms. That's how I'm staying in resorts for free. I've already stayed on Marco Island for free and had free food the entire trip there. Been to Amelia Island also this year. So, but credit cards are what's doing it. All of us spend money. We all buy groceries. There are credit cards that give you 5% back, 6% back on your grocery bill. There's credit cards that give you 5 or 6% back on your gas bill. All right. You got to be financially responsible. You never pay interest at all on a credit card, and use them to benefit yourself. And you can be any age at all. And my phone I keep getting texts in, and they keep popping up. But you can be any age at all and get a credit card. If you get the sign up bonuses where you get the bulk of your points. You might get 40,000, 50,000, 60,000 points for spending a certain amount in 3 months. It could be $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. You can look at the different ones, see what the minimum requirement is, but you make that spend, you get that sign up bonus. Just say it's 50,000 points. Whatever you spent, you're getting more points for it. And 50,000 points by themselves might give you 2 free round trip airplane tickets or multiple nights in a hotel or a free rental car. But then you get another card. You wait at least 3 months to apply for another one, and you do it again. And if you have a pandemic like we had, where you stop traveling, things accumulate. That's what happened to us. The points accumulated, the free nights in hotels accumulate. But now we're reaping the rewards, and I encourage all of you. I'll help any of you with this. I can give you credit card recommendations. The preference, if you're active duty military, any annual fee can get waived on most of the credit cards. If you're not active duty military like me, and probably a lot of you might have to pay an annual fee, but most of them with an annual fee, look at the benefits. The Chase Sapphire Preferred has a $95 annual fee, but the perks that you get from it far outweigh that $95. Like, you'll get just that sign-up bonus might be worth $1,000 or $1,250 or $1,500. My Hilton Honors card has a $450 a year annual fee. But if I'm getting multiple nights for a luxury resort and I'm getting free food in hotels and I get some other stuff, then it surpasses that annual fee. So if you're interested, send me an email, mazskefinance@gmail.com. I have some videos about credit cards. Myself and Lieutenant Bill, we made some longer videos talking about credit cards, and Helicopter Pilot Caleb. We all made some videos talking about credit cards. Bill, you asked, are you talking like Southwest or some other? If you're talking airlines, I have never flown Southwest. I want to. I have a $250 gift card to Southwest. One of my credit cards 3-4 years ago, I could get a gift card, and I picked an airline. I picked Southwest. So it's sitting in my account, just a $250 gift card. So whenever I do fly Southwest, I got $250. So that'll help. But I'm flying United, and I'm flying American Airlines. It's almost any of the major airlines with credit card points. You can fly them. So, but anyway. All right, this is getting long. There we go. All right, I don't see any new comments coming up, so I think I'm going to wrap this up. I do need to get out and get some exercise. I'm getting older. I need my daily exercise. I already swam today. It tired me out. Swimming wears me out. And I need to get my Fitbit, get my 10,000 steps in, and I need to check out the oral score. So thanks so much for watching. I do appreciate it. I'll be back tomorrow with a recorded video. And if you got any questions, you got any comments, email me, put comments below. This video will get posted. It'll take a while, but sometime later tonight or by tomorrow morning, it'll get posted. You can put comments there. So I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Mazske is signing out.